Mantini. This is Playing with Energy, Psychic Tools for Actors. We're here in New York City. I have two wonderful stage actresses with me. This is Anna and Tanya, and they agreed to work with me today. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about is actors' energy. Especially in theater, there's a demand to be big, to be seen, to emotionally be able to fill a large theater with your energy and your feelings. So there's two things I want to say hello to today. One is the second chakra, which is the center of feelings, emotions, sexuality, creativity. And the sixth chakra, clairvoyance, and a space that sits just behind the sixth chakra called the center of your head. So the first thing I want to show you is the center of your head. So, if you were to take your hands and put one hand here on the forehead and one in the back and draw a line between them, and two fingers here between the ears, where they cross is the center of your head. That's one way to find it. Another way is just to say, be behind your eyes. The center of your head is very important. It's a space of seniority. It's a space of neutrality and non-judgment. And it's a space that allows you to see. When you're in the center of your head, you can see all the way around you. It's amazing. The other thing about the center of the head is that it gives you a space where you can create from. So with actors, there's a demand to be in our emotions. So a lot of actors will leave the center of their head and go down into the second chakra. And they'll get all caught up in the feelings and the emotions and the drama and the this and the that. And then the beat changes, and the scene changes, and they have to shift into a different feeling, and they're so caught up in this, they can't get out of it. And that's because they've left the center of their head, and they've gone down into it, and they've become it. Okay? So whenever you feel like you're becoming it, and you can't get out of it, maybe just say to yourself, oh, let me get in the little elevator and push COH and come right up to the center of my head. You still have all the feelings and all the emotions, but you're not becoming it, which means you can now change it, right? If you're down in the middle of it, Tanya loves to do that. She loves to feel it, she loves to get down in it, yeah! But if you come up here, you can change your adjustment like that. So if you're at an audition and you've set the tone in your monologue, and it's very emotionally charged, so you're doing some Shakespeare, okay? And it's one of the dramatic roles. She's an ingenue, so there's always going to be a lot of pain and potential death and dying and all those wonderful things. And they're getting really down into it. But then you have to shift to tenderness or love. And how do you make that shift if you're becoming that? Well, one way to do that is to be here, in this space. It's like being the captain, okay? You're not watching yourself, you're not self-directing, you're actually centered, and you can shift from one picture to another, one energy to another, okay? And it's something you just play with. You have to practice, becoming aware of, I'm in it, I'm in it, I'm in it, I'm becoming it, and moving up out of it into this more neutral space, and just observing it. And that's where you get to play, and that's when you get to create. So we're going to practice that. Give us a minute to set up, and we'll be right back. Thank you. All right.
I wish I could be clearer. I wish I could say my life had no light. My life was eating me alive. I wish I could say I had a nervous breakdown. So I stole a bird. Which, strictly speaking, would be true. Which is why the police let me go, instead of charging me with the theft of a beloved macaw. The Italian doctor scheduled me for a series of appointments at the Tavistock Clinic in London and put me on Prozac. The woman whose bird it had been and whose it was again, felt sorry for me.
Okay, pause there. So just kind of stay where you are, Anna. I'm going to help you keep everything you've created. It's wonderful. But I'm going to put the attention here. Just go right into the center of the head. You might not be used to being in there, so I'm going to help you be in there, okay? Again, this is a space of neutrality and no judgment and seniority, a place of seeing. So you're going to stay here. I'm going to help you stay here. And you can either do a next section or you can start over from the top. It's up to you.
The woman whose bird it had been and whose it was again felt sorry for me. Because she may have lost her pet, but at least she wasn't cuckoo. She sent me a stack of National Geographic magazines for me to read in the loony bin, which is where she was told I would be spending the rest of my life. The rest of my life.
Lovely. I'm going to stop you there because that's amazing. Did you notice the difference?
Yeah.
Holy crap. I noticed a huge difference.
Yeah.
I want to hear your experience first.
The first time that I was doing it, I felt swamped.
Mm-hmm.
I felt lots of things. I felt emotional. I felt very, very emotional. I felt all of the things. But I felt flooded or swamped by the emotions without having a strong sense of the actual circumstances of the moment, so who I was talking to,
Mm-hmm.
Why I was saying the things.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I was just feeling things as opposed to...
Right. Right. And then when you shifted to a neutral space in the center of your head,
I felt like I was talking to someone.
yeah.
Yeah, I felt like I was talking to someone.
That's exactly what I got.
Yeah.
The first time you did it was all about you.
Yeah.
And what I'm feeling, and I see this a lot with actors, like, oh, I'm feeling an emotion, but you're not communicating.
Yeah.
And the second you came up here, oh my God, you were communicating. You were talking to somebody, and you were really looking to get that response from them without even trying. It wasn't like, oh, here's my thing, here's my adjustment, here's what I want. You were really trying to get it. And I also could see that it gave you more freedom because you had heard it a certain way in your head. Is kind of what I was getting.
Okay.
And the second I put you up here, all of a sudden, oh, where's that color coming from? Right. And it gave you permission for it to come out a little differently.
Yeah.
Right? So there's safety in that. You can trust yourself. So when you go into an audition, it can shift and be different.
Yeah.
The other thing is that there was something, the reason I stopped you, because you're holding that space really well, and you said something, and it was like, oh, I felt it. I was like, oh, it was beautiful. Like, I felt beauty in it. And wow, it really touched me. So I got what I needed, so I stopped you.
Yeah.
So, great, I cast you right now, you know? But yeah, that little shift. But actors do this all the time. They get really into it, and it doesn't serve you to do that.
And it felt like a lack of control. It felt like I wasn't doing anything, like I was just feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. And it's not about craft, and it's not about technique. It was a simple adjustment of staying up here in the center of your head. Right? Interesting. Thank you. Anya, come on up.
Do you think I could be a nun, Chris? I really rather think I could. All pale and pious, singing sort of faint and lovely hymns all day long. I feel as if I'd lost faith in men, Chris. out to the street now and be run over by a taxi. I should be sorry in a way, of course, but I shouldn't really care a damn. Oh, I didn't mean that at all, darling. Of course not. At least not personally. Oh, you mustn't mind what I say when I'm like this. I can see now why people say operations like that are wrong. They are, you know, that the whole business of having children is all wrong. It ought to be the result of something very rare and sort of special and privileged and stuff. Instead of just that.
Okay, pause. Keep all that great work you got going on. Just gonna put your attention here. So how do we find it? Lines and lines where they cross. That's the center of the head. Just put your attention right in there. Just gonna help you be in there. And you can start from the top or you can continue. Okay.
You know, Chris, in some ways now, I wish I had that kid. Last day or two, I've been sort of feeling what it would be like to be a mother. Do you know, last night I sat here for a long time by myself and held this teddy bear in my arms and imagined that it was my baby. I felt the most marvelous sort of shut-off feeling from all the rest of the world. I imagined how it would grow up and how, after I put it to bed at nights, I'd go out and make love to filthy old men to make money to pay for its clothes and food. Yes, I wouldn't think of myself at all. Just it. Must be rather wonderful to never think of yourself. Someone else. Well, I suppose it's what people mean by religion.
Good, good. Did you notice the difference?
Yeah, I felt more like, how do I even describe, like I didn't know where it was going to go. You know, and maybe the character wasn't there as much, I don't know. But it was just, I was like just really connecting and having a conversation with someone.
Yeah, it felt, the second you started talking, it felt honest. And your body changed. I don't know if you noticed that. Anna, pipe in.
I was going to say that you seemed so in your body.
Yeah, your whole physicality went from like, to, yeah, and this and that and that. So things started to open up. But when you first started talking right from here, it was also very honest. And I did see a character more from here because I felt like she's still kind of hiding a little bit, but it wasn't you, the actress, hiding. It's the character's trying, the character's doing it. And then there was a shift where it kind of like a mask fell off, and then that's when you got started getting really animated. And it was like really interesting, really, really interesting. Yeah, it felt like like a journey, you know? Yeah, and you still had your emotions, you still had your feelings, you just weren't becoming it. You weren't like so bogged down in it that you couldn't see your way out. And when you're up here, you have control. That's why they call it a space of seniority. You get to choose and direct at any time, and that's what makes it interesting. So as an actor, if you're really listening and listening to your scene partner, and you're talking to them, and you're really trying to get a response from them, and they give you something a little different than you normally would do, like in a performance, because if you're up here, then you can like, oh, what's that? And I can create a different response. And all of a sudden, there's this whole new life that can come in. But you're still aware of, oh, I gotta hit my cue, I gotta get my exit. You still know where you are in space and time, but in that moment, you have creative freedom. If you were down in here, you would miss any subtle changes that your scene partner gives you. Because you're so into your own thing, you're not even going to notice it. And then they have to work harder to listen to you. It was so easy to listen to you when you were here. Would you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely, I've had those experiences where I feel if I'm really in the emotion, then it's just so overpowering in a way. And
yeah,
you give the emotion, but then, you know, it's kind of becomes, the rest becomes a mess in terms of like, you know, like what are you hearing, what are you not hearing, and then it becomes more about the emotion rather than just like about.
It's not about creating, it's not about specific, it's not about giving and receiving, it's not about communicating and reaching, and it is about the audience. Because what are you doing? You have this scene, but they're there, and they're listening, and they're going with you. So you're all on this thing. Are you even aware of how you're affecting them? Do they hear you? It's not just the scene partner hears you. The audience is there, and there is no acting without an audience, right? And so when an actor goes down in here, there's no audience. It's all about me, and that's not what everything is about, right? Yeah. So that little shift makes such a difference. So whenever you practice your monologues, it's practice. Just decide, okay, I'm going to be behind my eyes, or if you really want to do this until you can find it, I'm just going to be behind my eyes, between my ears, in that center of head space. And don't think about it, don't analyze it, don't try to like make it perfect. It's just, let me start from there. From learning the lines to making decisions, decide to be here. And there's a freedom. You can always go back down, come back up. You don't have to stay perfect and be in the center of your head all the time, even in life. But know that you have that choice. And more, you might find, oh, I actually can create more from this space than if I become everything that's happening within me. Yeah. All right. Thank you.